So, as a beginner in 3D printing, you're probably more used to PLAs and maybe ABSs, and you may have heard of more exotic filaments like a TPU or like a PETG or even nylons and stuff like that, but you probably haven't experimented with them too much. And as you start to get into these filaments, there are certain things that you have to do in order to make sure they work properly. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do, how to take care of these properly for one of the cheapest methods I've been able to see. So stay tuned and I'm going to show you how to do that. So, basically, a lot of the filaments that are more exotic, like the TPU, the PETG, nylons, absorb water really easily. So, like, from the air, there's a surprising amount of humidity in the air, even during, like, winter, when when you wouldn't expect there to be as much moisture in the air. Summer, yeah, there's going to be more. But, basically, most people don't know how to take care and how to put their filament in the right conditions so that they won't absorb water and mess up the prints. Basically, when you can tell that your filaments have absorbed water when they start coming out a little foamy or they start bubbling. They just don't turn out. They don't look as nice as when you first open the package. And that'll happen sometimes with different brands, but basically, there's always one thing you need to keep consistent, is a dry environment. If you can keep all of your filaments in a dry environment, that's the best thing, especially like water-soluble filaments for like dual extrusion and stuff like that. But one of the cheapest ways I've been able to see that to take care of this is literally by taking a box, putting the filament inside, putting a desiccant, which removes the water, like those silica gel packs. You put those in the box, and you seal it up, and there you go. You have your sealed box. That's not super practical for when you want to try to use it for long term, or you want to try to use it more practically. So that's why you're going to need a couple things to build this. So I'm going to lay them all out, and then I'll show the prices during editing. I'll show the prices on top of each of the items here. And then I'll also include them in the description, and you can take a look, get all the exact items I'm using, and I'm going to show you step by step how to build this dry box. So let's get started. So there's a couple things you need. Weather stripping, which this is produced by Duck, the Duck company, like duct tape. They make that stuff. This is like $4. Again, I'll overlay the price on top of that. You get about 10 feet. It's, I believe, a 1/2 inch tall and 3/4 inch thick. That works out really well for the container. And then most of these things beyond the box and the roll, this weather stripping is mostly optional, but there are things that you need as a basic, like the desiccant, the silica beads, the weather stripping, and the box. But you also need, this is optional, you can get a humidity monitor just to be a little bit more exact, so you know how your enclosed environment is doing. You're also going to need this. This is the desiccant. So this I bought off of Amazon. This was about $17. You can get a smaller pack. This is 2.5 pounds. So this is going to be plenty. The nice thing about this is they're color changing. So it turns from like these blue beads, which you'll see in a little bit, to a clearish pink. And when it's absorbed the water, then I know that I need to recharge it. And it says on the front here, I can just bake it in the oven, or I can, sorry, it's kind of hard for y'all to see, bake it in the oven or microwave it. Get all the moisture out and then put it back in, and you're good to go. So those are the main things that you definitely need. But some things, if you're going to be printing out of the box, which I'm going to be showing you how to print out of the box, you're going to need like a foam sort of material to be able to clean the dust off from the silica beads. You're going to need a dowel or some sort of rod that you will be able to hold the filament on. You're also going to need, I'm going to be using like a sticky tape, like this this double-sided sticky tape. You can get some like 3M tape or some Gorilla tape here. That I will also have right here, as well as duct tape. This again, these things are going to come into importance later. And the last most important thing is, again, all of these things can be pretty much picked up at Walmart. The last most important thing that you're going to need is this big box. And it's so big, I can't fit it on camera right now. This is a 64-quart latching tote. Try to position that so y'all can see it. This is the box that I got, 64-quart. I'm hoping to hold like 10 rolls of filament in here. We'll see how that works. But yeah, we'll see how that works. And it comes with this lid that just clips onto the side here. And it doesn't have this. It doesn't come with this weather stripping. I'll show you just how to lay that down. But that's just taking this and putting it around here. Just clips on, and that's the lid. Again, it's a little too big to show on camera. So I'm going to show you first then how to make the box, and then we're going to go into putting the holes in the side as well as the components needed to be able to print outside of the box. If you decide that you don't want to print outside the box, you just put your filament right in the box, put the weather stripping around the lid, and then put your desiccant in and seal up, and you're good to go. But now we're going to move on how to print out of the box. Now, one of the most important things is, unless you buy a sealed box, you're going to need to take your lid and you need to put this weather stripping around. Very easy, very self-explanatory. Basically, all you do is you just take it and you just lie it in and then just mold it around all the corners and everything so that it becomes a seal around the outside. And this stuff works really well for sealing. It does latch on the ends, so we're probably going to need to put some duct tape on the sides so that it just makes it a tighter seal. But that is the first step in making this. Otherwise you won't have a sealed box. In order to be able to print outside of the box, I will include the where I downloaded these things. But these are a bunch of different 3D printed parts. We've got basically consist of 3 different things. These 2 here are the holders so that I can put it on the other sides of each of the sides of the box, and then I put the rod in here, and this is what the filament's going to sit on. And then we have this is what one half is going to go on the outside, and what the nuts going to go on the inside. The bolt head is going to go on the outside, so that you can then print right out of the box. And there's actually a little hole, you can see, for the filament to go through. And there's different ways to seal that, but I'm going to show you how I did that, or how I'm going to do that. So let's get the box, and let's start with measuring the filament, the rod height. So you should be able to, if you get a 64-quart box, you should be able to fit most of your rolls pretty much anywhere. Like, you can pretty much anywhere, but I don't think you'd be able to stick them layer over layer. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try to get up a little bit higher so that I can put some other rolls underneath of it, actually, and then also be able to print six of the filaments throughout here, because I've got about 4 I'd like to print out, and then there's always room for expansion later. So once you find the right height here, just going to kind of mark the top of this, and that's basically where you're going to line the pieces up that go on the side so that you can put the rod through. So just mark the top approximately where you'd want it. Again, I'm just estimating, so I'm probably going to put it somewhere right about here. And then that way it'll give me a little bit of room to go off of for just error estimate, I guess you could say. And then this is where the double-sided sticky tape is going to come into play. One of the first times it's going to come into play. I just cut a strip so that you can put it on the back. You can use hot glue if you want. It's probably a lot easier to use this double-sided sticky tape, because if you use that, then you're going to the hot glue might not stick, and if you don't use the if you don't like scratch up the sides so that the hot glue will stick, then you might end up putting too many rolls on and breaking the bond. So stick both sides onto both sides, the opposite sides of the box, and then we're going to cut down the dowel. Alright, so it took me a couple shots to get the right length because I wasn't approximating for the angle of the walls here, so I didn't exactly plan for that. The nice thing about this is that it's got a little bit of a lip on top here, so that if I cut it too short, it's not gonna fall. It's not gonna pop right out. Funny. It's not really gonna pop right out as easily, but I can still pull it out fairly easily. If you do get this one, the dowel I measured, again, it's going to change based upon what you get, but it's about 13 3/4 inches. So that's something, again, that's just going to change, vary based upon what size container you have. If you get the same one, again, 13 and about 3/4 inches, a little bit less, is what you want to aim for. So now, I can take this filament, pop off the roll, pop off the bar here, set it on top, and now I can pull, or I can have the printer pull the filament out. The only problem is it can't get to the outside, and that's where these guys come in. So this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Let me resituate here. So I've got 6 of these little guys here. The exit ports, I guess you could say, for where the filament's going to come out. Basically 6 different filament types. So that's going to make it, just again, so that I have a little bit more variety in, or a little bit more opportunity to have multiple filaments coming out of this, especially if I ever do multi-material printing. So I'm probably going to go with 6 across the bottom. I could probably do like a 3 over 2, 2 rows of 3 in the center, but I'm probably just going to go across 6 across the bottom, because then it can always be pulled up, or maybe even just doing 6 across the middle right here, just where the filament comes right out. That way, don't really have to deal with too much friction that the machine has to pull out. Especially, I know with TPU, and if you don't have like a Bondtech extruder, it's not gonna pull like TPU as well. So I'm gonna mark up each of the holes here. Again, I'd say probably about 6 inches up, and then I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna drill through each of those, 1/4 inch drill, and taking that hole, just gonna pop these through, and we have to add a little bit of a sealer or like a gasket in order to be able to keep the moisture from coming in. So I'm gonna show you to do that after I drill these holes. So actually, what I'm probably gonna do is, as I was working it out, putting on the inside didn't work as well. It might help to create a better seal, but it's probably going to be easier just to put it on the outside as opposed to putting it on the inside, because then you have to tighten the nut over top of it. So the last couple things we need to add. So with this foam here, we're actually going to just take it and we're going to just cut off a little square, and we're going to put a little bit over each of the outlets here, so that basically there's this dust that comes off of the silicon, the beads. So when you put that in there, that'll get trapped in the filament, might mess with the filament a little bit. So all you need to do, it just basically acts as a filter just to wipe off the dust. You don't have to, but it's probably a really good idea too. I had some of this lying around from another project, so it really wasn't bad at all. So we're going to put that filter on, and then going to load up the filaments, and we'll go from there. So give me a second, and 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, so the last couple of parts to finish up this build, the silica and the humidity monitor. So with the silica, it's a pretty easy process, just pour it in, and then you want to make sure that everything's going to stay solid, make sure everything's going to hold, and then with the humidity monitor, that's a little bit of a challenge. There's a stand on it. I took mine off, and then I basically am just going to put it right in the back with a little bit of that double-sided tape. So that's something you can just put in the bottom on the stand, or you can kind of just mount it, whatever works for you the best. So let's pour it in, and I'll show you guys the final product. Alright, so we pretty much got an overview of the top, so you can see got the blue silica beads in the bottom. Again, these are going to turn from this bluish color. These are going to turn from this bluish color to a to it's a translucent pink-ish. There's other ones. There's like a orange to green kind of thing, and that really depends upon how much you're willing to spend for this. It should work pretty well. I'll give you guys an update in the future. There's probably be a couple things where I'd like to change it. There might be some things that you guys can change. If you guys can change it and make it better, feel free to. I mean, it's your project. If you have any suggestions or any comments at all, feel free to leave them in the description or in the comments. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching.